Soybeans and silage move over. Rice looks like it could be the new king and cash making machine in Farming Simulator 25. We got our first look at how to create rice paddies and the new build menu for Farming Simulator 25, which looks to have had a big rebuild itself. All this and more has been revealed in the latest blog post from Giants, so let's dive in and see what makes rice grow. First up, we'll cover the simple stuff, comparing the growth stages of a long grain rice and, well, just rice, although I think this should be referred to as short grain rice to better differentiate between the two. Short grain rice is planted in pre-flooded rice paddies, while long grain rice is planted in a dry field and then flooded afterwards. Both require water for the duration of their growth cycles, which will mean regular checking and monitoring of the water levels. This can be done by inspecting the rice field, which gives an info box showing the current water levels. It seems the short grain rice only requires water, but the long grain rice has more specific water demands as the crop grows. This is automatically managed by the water pump and you can't overfill the fields. Now I can already see a mod here with a field manager set up which could allow for all rice fields to be viewed on a single screen and a remote application to activate pumps as required. A technological approach to how farms are now managed rather than having to visually inspect each one. Now if you're a modder, feel free to take this one at no extra charge. Comparing the growth cycles between each crop, the short grain rice can be planted in either April or May, has a 4-month growth duration and a harvest window of August or September, while the long grain rice can be planted in April only, takes 5 months to mature and can be harvested in September only, so a little bit more flexibility there with the short grain rice. There is a slightly different seed usage between the two, with the short grain rice using 156 litres per hectare compared to the long grain rice requiring 500 litres per hectare. Now of course the other big difference here, which we can't compare, is that short grain rice actually uses rice seedlings, which can be grown in the greenhouses or bought from the store, and does require the special Izeki rice planter, while the long grain rice uses standard seed planted in a seeder, so not quite a straightforward comparison. Speaking of the greenhouses, we do have a few more screenshots showing these off, while the blog also references your agricultural ambitions, and if these rely on increased rice production, then you should look to grow your own seedlings. Now does this suggest a potential yield bonus for growing your own seedlings, or is there a significant long-term cost saving to being more self-sufficient? A question we will have to wait to find out. Now once harvest hits, we have some significantly different yields between the two, and with that a significantly different potential income. The long grain rice has a high yield, 18,000 litres per hectare, but a much lower average selling price of $1,589 per 1,000 litres. Short grain rice, on the other hand, yields 13,200 litres a hectare, so again slightly less, but does have an average selling price of more than double that of the long grain rice at $3,300 per 1,000 litres. Some quick calculations, and a potential income of $28,602 for the long grain rice, and a staggering $43,560 for the short grain rice, which is about 50% more than the long grain. When you factor in the potential equipment costs, the reduced size and width of the Izeki equipment, and how long it would take to harvest an equivalent field size, then if you're prepared to put in the hours, the short grain rice could be a treasure trove. Of course, one of the key aspects of rice is the floodable fields, and Giants have shown for the first time how you will be able to create your own custom rice paddies within the construction menu. The rice field construction tool is found under the productions menu and within a cultivation subfield, sharing this with grapevines and olive trees. And from the images shared, it appears that you can place points around your field, which will generate interlinking lines to define the edge of the field. Once finished, this will create your floodable rice field. And it's great to see an option to undo the previous corner, while also interesting to see an option to change placement height. What this means in the long run is not clear, so we will have to wait to see more on this. Also unclear is the cost to place a rice field. There is a value of $1,500 shown, but if this is a per metre, per field, per edge cost, it's not clear. Although the screenshots shared don't show any accumulating cost as previously used for grapevines, olives and fences, so could be a potential per field cost. A few other questions remain. Can you place a rice paddy on a slope? Can you plant other crops in that field for crop rotation? What status is the field ground after creation? Can you do it anywhere on land you own? Once again, we'll have to wait and see on these. The new method for creating these fields also raises a few more questions. Will fences be able to be constructed in a similar way? How about roads, power poles or other items? Will it be possible to define a custom animal pasture or perhaps a grazing field rather than an animal barn? More questions than answered, again raised with this. Another interesting part of the blog is the repeated reference to applying lime to your fields. We didn't see this in any of the previous spinach, pea or bean blogs, so could we see an increased yield bonus specifically for rice when using lime? Or is this just a filler to extend the length of the blog? The screenshot showing the Fent pulling a bridle spreader does show off some of the ground deformation in the background and how the lime is applied over these. Also, the lime texture does seem a much finer dust than FS22 and possibly a more off-white colour than the bright white, so possibly improved texture there. I certainly hope that that is the case, as I've enjoyed using a more tan coloured custom texture in FS22, so not sure I could go back to the bright white of past. We also have a bonus screenshot not shown in the block with the Kubota tractor running the bridle spreader applying what looks like dry fertiliser. The Kubota has some narrow looking tyres on the back with the axle showing extended, which is promising for some more US spec style duals. But of more interest to me is the ground deformation, or potentially lack of considering the narrow tyre spec. In fact, the deformation behind the spreader tyre seems more even though it has a wider footprint. This could be down to the weight difference of the tractor versus the spreader, with a fully loaded spreader carrying quite some weight. This does pose a question though, as the weight decreases off the spreader, will the amount of soil deformation decrease? Now amongst all of this, we also had a first look at a new seeder for FS25, the Unia Phoenix 3000/4. Unia is not a new brand to the game, having had a selection of silos in FS22, but this is the first time we have seen any of their farm machinery. The Phoenix 3004 is a 4 metre wide pneumatic seeder with a 3000 litre seed hopper and an advertised average planting speed of about 12 km an hour according to their website. It will be interesting to see what else we get from this brand, as they have a wide array of equipment from ploughs and cultivators to balers and bale wrappers, a wide range of sprayers and fertiliser spreaders, as well as potato planters and harvesters. So lots to digest in this blog. While rice was the big crop announcement at reveal, and we've been drip fed features such as the floodable fields and the specialist rice equipment from Izeki, there was still a lot of questions, many of which have now been answered, while at the same time raising some more questions about other aspects of the game. A reminder, Farming Simulator 25 releases next month. It is the 12th of November 2024 and it's available on PC, PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. You can pre-order now through your favourite source, and if you're using the Giants web store, you can use our partner code ARGZYGAMING at no extra cost to you to help support the channel. Now as always, I hope you found this one informative. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.